Every morning you wake up, you're standing at the threshold of two versions of yourself, the one that settles and the one that ascends. And the difference between those two lives isn't your job, it's not your education, and it's not your background. It's your mouth. It's what you say when nobody's listening that shapes what everybody else will one day see. See, words don't just describe your world, they create it. You don't speak because something is true. You speak to make it true. Your life is echoing the vocabulary of your daily declarations. And too many people wake up and let their day speak to them when God gave them the power to speak to their day. Every morning, before the phone rings, before the news plays, before the world tells you who you're not, you've got to tell yourself who you are. Don't let the mirror be the first voice you hear. Don't let the bills be the first voice you hear. Let purpose be the first voice you hear. Let faith be the first voice you hear. And that starts by opening your mouth with intention. Speak 7 lines to yourself every morning, not because it's magic, but because repetition creates identity. Identity creates decisions, and decisions determine destiny. Here's what you say. 1, I am created on purpose, with purpose, for a purpose. You're not an accident, you're an assignment. The world needs what's inside you. You were born to solve a problem that exists because you exist. 2, today I choose discipline over distractions. You don't need more time, you need more focus. Every dream is possible if you starve your distractions and feed your destiny. 3, I attract favor, finances, and future through my faith and actions. You don't chase money, you become the kind of person money chases. Favor isn't random, it finds the voice that believes it deserves to be found. 4, I am becoming the version of myself I used to pray for. You're not stuck, you are not behind, you are becoming, and the process is proof that progress is happening, even if it's slow. 5, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, and no failure can define me. Opposition is confirmation. If you weren't valuable, the enemy wouldn't be attacking. The fact that hell is after you means heaven is backing you. 6, I forgive quickly, love deeply, and lead boldly. Unforgiveness is a weight. You weren't built to carry it. Let it go. Love people, but lead with power. Your voice was made to shift atmospheres. 7, I already have everything I need to win today. You're not waiting on a breakthrough, you are the breakthrough. What you're looking for is already in your hands. Start where you are with what you have and watch doors open. These 7 lines are not just affirmations, they're activations. You don't say them because they're true, you say them until they become true. Your words are your weapon, your faith is your fuel, and your mouth is the engine that will either move you forward or keep you stuck. So tomorrow morning, before you check the time, before you check the news, before you check your notifications, check your mouth, speak life, and watch life respond. Words create worlds. That's not just a phrase. It's a principle as real as gravity. In the beginning, when everything was still formless and void, it wasn't bricks or blueprints that brought the universe into order. It was a voice. God didn't build first, he spoke first. Let there be light, and there was light. That means before anything exists in your life, it must first exist in your language. Every word you speak is a seed. And just like seeds, your words don't produce overnight, but they do produce. You don't plant an apple seed and get oranges. So when you plant frustration, don't expect peace. When you plant doubt, don't expect confidence. When you speak defeat, don't be surprised when your life begins to reflect the atmosphere of your language. Most people are living in a world they accidentally built with words they carelessly spoke. They think they're just venting, just being real, just saying how they feel. But feelings are temporary and words are permanent. Feelings fade, words frame. You can talk yourself into depression, or you can talk yourself into dominion. You can speak like a victim or speak like a victor, but you can't do both. The reason many people stay stuck is because their mouth is in agreement with their past instead of their purpose. They keep rehearsing what happened, who left, what didn't work, and what they're not, without realizing that they're reinforcing the very things they want to escape. Your future doesn't respond to your pain, it responds to your pronouncements. If you want to shift your life, shift your language. If you want to walk in power, talk in power. If you want a better reality, you need better vocabulary. Stop saying, I'm tired, I'm broke, I'm stuck, I can't. Those aren't just harmless phrases, they're blueprints. And your life is following the pattern. Every day, your words are either building a palace or digging a pit. The choice is yours. Speak what you seek until you see what you said. That's the law, that's the power, that's the truth. Words create worlds. So if you don't like the world you're living in, start changing the words you're speaking. Morning declaration sets momentum. The first words out of your mouth each day are not just expressions, they are instructions. You are giving your mind, your spirit, your emotions, and even your circumstances an order to follow. You are setting the tone, the temperature, and the trajectory of your entire day. That's why you can't afford to be casual with your confession when you wake up. You don't start the day waiting to see how you feel. You decide how you're going to feel, and you declare it out loud. Most people roll out of bed and let life tell them who they are, how they should think, and what to expect. They check their phone, scroll through bad news, compare themselves to somebody else's highlight reel, and then wonder why they feel behind, anxious, or defeated before they even brush their teeth. But when you understand the power of declaration, you flip the script. You don't wake up to react, you wake up to create. You start speaking what you want to see. You declare your peace, your progress, your protection, and your prosperity. You don't wait until the day is over to reflect on what happened. You start by declaring what will happen. That's what momentum is. It's motion with direction. And it doesn't come from emotions, it comes from declaration. If you say nothing, you give permission for everything. But when you declare, this is the day the Lord has made, I will rejoice and be glad in it, you're not just quoting scripture, you're activating purpose. You're telling your soul to get in line with your spirit. You're reminding your environment that you're not just living. The greatest battles are won before the day even begins. It's not about what the enemy throws at you, it's about what you've already spoken over yourself before the attack shows up. Because when you've already declared that no weapon formed against you shall prosper, the weapon might form, but it won't win. Momentum doesn't come from motivation, it comes from movement. And the first movement every day should be your mouth speaking with power, intention, and authority. Say it before you see it. Declare it before you feel it. And the day will begin to mirror the strength of your words. That's not hype, that's alignment. And alignment always produces acceleration. Morning declaration sets momentum. So start every day like your life depends on what you say, because it does. Speak identity, not emotion. Emotions are temporary, shifting with circumstances, but identity is rooted. It's anchored in truth, not in mood. When you wake up and speak from how you feel, you risk giving power to a version of yourself that was never meant to lead. But when you speak from who you are, and even more from who you are becoming, you take back control from your feelings and place it in the hands of your faith. Feelings are real, but they're not always right. You can feel tired and still be strong. You can feel afraid and still be called. You can feel unqualified and still be chosen. That's why it's dangerous to let emotion become the narrator of your day. Emotion will say, I can't. Identity says, I'm called. Emotion says, I'm overwhelmed. Identity says, I'm equipped. Emotion says, I'm not enough. Identity says, I have everything I need. Too often people say things like, I'm just being honest, or I'm just keeping it real, when in reality they're repeating insecurities dressed up as transparency. But there's a difference between expressing emotion and becoming enslaved by it. You were not created to be ruled by emotion. Emotions are signals, not systems. They're meant to be felt, not followed. Your identity doesn't come from what happened to you, how someone else treated you, or what mistake you made in the past. Your identity is sourced in your purpose, not your pain. And when you speak from that identity, you rise above temporary emotions and start walking in permanent authority. Every declaration you make should align with your destiny, not your discomfort. Don't say what fear is saying. Don't echo the voice of doubt. Don't repeat the lines of limitation. Speak what heaven says about you. Speak what your future demands of you. Speak what your assignment requires of you. Your mouth is either going to repeat the past or release the future. And when you speak from identity, you start living from vision instead of reaction. You stop being pulled in every direction by your feelings and start walking in a straight line toward your calling. So the next time your emotions rise up, anger, sadness, insecurity, fear, pause. Acknowledge them, but don't speak from them. Instead declare, this isn't who I am. I'm not what I feel. I'm what I believe. Then speak like someone who's already won. Speak like someone who's already free. Speak like someone who knows they were made for more. Because you weren't created to echo your emotions. You were created to express your identity. And identity always speaks victory, even in the middle of a storm. 7 lines equals 7 ladders. Every time you speak one of those lines in the morning, you're not just making a statement, you're stepping up. Each declaration is a rung that lifts you higher, one level at a time, out of limitation and into liberation. You may not see the full staircase yet, but the moment you open your mouth with intention, you start climbing. That's the power of consistent, intentional speech. It builds your mindset like a ladder, one line, one level, one day at a time. Most people are waiting for something external to elevate them. A raise, a breakthrough, a relationship, a lucky break. But elevation doesn't come from outside, it starts within. The ladder that leads you out of where you are and into where you're called to be is built by your words. You can't stay stuck if your speech is aligned with progress. Each line you speak creates structure. The first line reminds you of your purpose. The second line aligns your discipline. The third line shifts your financial mindset. The fourth connects you to your future self. The fifth reinforces your spiritual authority. The sixth upgrades your relationships. And the seventh reminds you that you already have the tools to win. Those aren't just lines, they're ladders. And when you climb them daily, you rise above everything that used to hold you down. You can't climb while complaining. You can't rise while repeating defeat. But you can ascend with intentional speech. Every morning you speak these 7 lines, you're building internal momentum. You're reinforcing new habits. You're climbing mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and financially. And soon you'll look around and realize you're not in the same place anymore. Not because something magical happened, but because you refused to stay on the ground. You built your ladder and you climbed. The truth is, most people want the results of success without the repetitions that create it. But those 7 lines are not just positive thoughts, they are spiritual reps. And every rep makes you stronger. Every line raises your ceiling. Every day you climb, your view gets clearer, your posture gets taller, and your voice gets louder. So don't underestimate the power of speaking those lines each morning. They're not fluff, they're framework. They're not hype, they're habit. And if you climb those ladders long enough, you'll rise into rooms you once only dreamed about, not because luck found you, but because your words lifted you. 7 lines, 7 ladders, 1 daily decision to go higher. Faithful language attracts favor. Not because the words themselves are magic, but because they are evidence of what you believe. And belief is what moves heaven. When you speak from faith, you speak from a position of expectation, not desperation. And favor responds to expectation. It doesn't chase need, it gravitates toward belief. God never said beg and it will be given. He said ask and then believe you have received. That's faith, that's authority, and that's the kind of language that opens doors. There's a sound that favor recognizes. It's not whining, it's not complaining, it's not begging. It's bold, confident, purposeful speech that aligns with destiny. Favor knows the sound of someone who understands who they are and whose they are. Favor finds the voice of someone who speaks as if the outcome is already guaranteed, because in the kingdom it is. When your words echo heaven, earth responds. Most people are speaking their fears and wondering why favor avoids them. But favor doesn't follow fear. Favor flows where faith has made a home. When your words are filled with anxiety, negativity, or lack, you're not attracting solutions, you're repelling them. But when your language shifts to power, possibility, and promise, you become a magnet for divine opportunity. You don't just attract resources, you attract people, ideas, and timing that align with your assignment. Faithful language doesn't ignore reality, it overrides it. It doesn't pretend the problem isn't there, it declares the solution anyway. It speaks healing in the face of sickness, provision in the face of lack, victory in the face of struggle. And that language creates a vibration that pulls favor into your atmosphere. You have to understand, words are not just sound, they're spiritual signatures. They signal what you believe, and the spiritual realm responds to that signal. That's why when you speak with doubt, you draw delay. But when you speak with faith, you draw acceleration. The words of faith don't just sound different, they carry weight. They carry evidence of what's already true in the unseen. If you want uncommon favor, you have to develop uncommon language. Stop talking like everyone else. Stop saying what you see and start saying what you expect. Speak the language of results. Speak the vocabulary of victory. Let your words go before you like soldiers, clearing the path for favor to walk in. Faithful language attracts favor because it speaks from a place of knowing, not needing. It doesn't hope something good might happen. It knows that goodness and mercy are already following. And when you speak like that, doors open, people shift, and the impossible starts to look inevitable. Repetition builds revelation. What you repeat, you begin to remember. What you remember, you begin to believe. And what you believe, you begin to embody. Repetition is not about redundancy, it's about reinforcement. The mind doesn't change with exposure, it changes with consistency. You don't need to hear something new, you need to keep hearing what's true until it becomes your natural language. Too many people give up on change because they're addicted to novelty. They want something fresh, something exciting, something they've never heard before. But transformation doesn't come from hearing something once. It comes from declaring it again and again until your thoughts, actions, and habits fall in line with it. When truth becomes repetition, it becomes revelation. And revelation is what produces manifestation. Think about it. The most powerful truths in your life are the ones you've heard and spoken so many times they become second nature. That's not by accident. That's by design. The subconscious mind doesn't respond to what's occasional. It responds to what's repetitive. That's how faith works. That's how confidence is built. That's how identity is formed. If you speak a lie long enough, it becomes your reality. The same is true for truth. When you repeat truth daily, truth about who you are, what you're called to do, and what you have access to, you're not just saying words. You're carving neural pathways. You're building internal highways of belief that become the foundation for everything you do. You're shifting your self-permit. You're breaking old agreements. You're aligning with purpose. Repetition is how you reprogram your inner world to match your outer assignment. It's how you replace fear with faith, doubt with dominion, and confusion with clarity. You don't need to feel it for it to work, you just need to say it. The emotion might come later, but the discipline must come first. Keep saying it until your soul catches up with your spirit. Every day you repeat those 7 lines, you're not just speaking, you're sowing. And just like seeds in the ground, the harvest doesn't come immediately. But over time, those repeated truths begin to take root, they begin to grow, they begin to produce fruit, and one day you wake up walking in what you used to only speak. Repetition builds revelation, and revelation gives birth to transformation. Don't get tired of saying the same truth. Get excited, because every time you say it, you're digging deeper. You're rising higher, you're becoming stronger. And sooner than you think, the life you've been speaking will become the life you're living. So hear me now. Every morning you wake up, you are not just waking up to another day. You're waking up to another opportunity to speak your future into existence. 7 lines, 7 ladders, 7 intentional declarations that shift your mind, build your faith, and activate your purpose. This isn't just routine, it's realignment. You're not saying these lines because they sound good. You're saying them because they do good. They build momentum, they anchor identity, they attract favor, they unlock revelation. The world will try to speak over you with noise, negativity, and fear, but you answer back not with emotion, but with identity, not with doubt, but with truth. And you do it every day until what you've been declaring is no longer just a confession, it's your reality. Because when your words change, your world changes. And when you speak like someone who's already won, life starts treating you like a winner. So tomorrow morning and every morning after, don't wait to see what the day brings. Tell the day what it's going to be. Stand up, speak out, and rise higher. Your life moves in the direction of your most consistent declaration. Speak wisely, speak boldly, speak daily, and watch what happens next.